Hey there everyone, welcome to FJX 2000 Productions and another episode of Let's FJ. My name is Hayden and today we are actually going to dive into an issue that my FJ Cruiser has been having lately. Basically, it won't go into four-wheel drive. And I think I know the reason. So we're going to be replacing a key component of the four-wheel drive system to see if that fixes the issue. So here I'll just show you, this is my FJ Cruiser. It is a 2008 FJ Cruiser, the automatic transmission. And normally when you go to shift into four-wheel drive, you just have to pull this back. Sometimes you have to drive forward a little bit or backwards and it'll click in. And when you do that, normally two lights come on the dash. One of them is the VSC off, and the other one is the four-wheel drive symbol, but neither of those are coming on right now. And then normally when you shift into neutral, then you're able to go into low four-wheel drive. And then when you go into drive, there'd normally be three lights on, but we're only getting one of the lights. So still at this point, it's not registering that it's in four-wheel drive, but it is registering that it is supposed to be in low four-wheel drive, because when we click the rear diff lock, it still tries to turn on the diff locker, which is that light right there. Some of the other lights come on at the same time, but it's just not actually engaging four-wheel drive. And we can also try and press A-track, but again, no lights come on. Normally the A-track light would come on, but it's just not actually in four-wheel drive, so things just aren't working properly. So I can go ahead and put it back into just even normal four-wheel drive, and we're still just getting no lights. And I can go into two-wheel drive, still just nothing. But at that point, there shouldn't be any lights. Either way, we're gonna try and figure out this issue. Let me explain what I think is happening. So basically, these newer Toyota 4x4 vehicles, they have four-wheel drive and they have like a front differential, rear differential. There's a rear solid differential, but the front is the independent front suspension. And so you have a center diff that has on there a four-wheel drive actuator, basically a small part that can change it from two-wheel drive to actually engaging some gears in there and then ultimately making it so you have four-wheel drive going to your front tires. Now, the FJ Cruiser that I have, its front differential has had some work done on it, and ultimately I think that's why this is my problem, why I'm having the issues of my four-wheel drive not engaging. So basically this problem that I'm having is where the four-wheel drive isn't engaging. And that could mean two things are happening. One, that the four-wheel drive actuator in the front differential isn't working. Or two, the sensor right here near the transfer case knob is also not detecting that it's going into four-wheel drive. I personally believe though that it's the four-wheel drive actuator. That's usually what fails for people if something does fail. And because mine has had some work done to it, I just feel like that's probably the most likely cause of the issues that I'm having. So this is what the four-wheel drive actuator looks like. If you look it up online, you can also find it under ADD actuator, which stands for automatic disconnecting differential. Basically, even when you put your transfer case into four-wheel drive, high four or low four, the power will then go to the front differential, but it's not until this activates that the power will actually be sent to your front tires. Until then, that axle can spin in your differential, but the power is not going out to the wheels until this does its job. And that's what I think has failed for me, is this guy right here. A couple years ago when I was doing some work on the front differential, I actually broke this breather hose off. There's a little plastic nipple there that this plastic hose connects to, and that broke. Some people, you'll see it listed online, they'll say that that's a vacuum line. That is a lie. That line is actually for a breather hose. So part of me thinks that maybe even though I tried to seal it up, hope maybe like moisture or something got in there and it's affected the gears, and so that's why it's not working. Maybe just it needs that breather and pressure is built up in there, so everything's like locked up. I have no idea. Ultimately, I should have replaced it then, but we're gonna be replacing it now. We're going to go ahead and we're gonna get started with taking off the skid plates. We'll access this, we'll take off the original one. We're actually gonna have to drain some oil to do that. And then we'll go ahead and put this on using some gasket maker. I just got this Permatex gear oil gasket maker, which is designed for this very reason. So hopefully we'll get this all done tonight. That has to sit for 24 hours before we can fill it with oil again. But at least I can show you how to take this off and reinstall this new one. This is a brand new Toyota part. I'll go ahead and put the code on the screen, but also I can show you the sticker. There you go. That's what our code is. So we'll go ahead and get started. The FJ's all dirty, but first things first, I have to take off these Ricochet skid plates. If you have the OEM skid plates, congratulations, your job is a lot easier. But I'll go ahead and get these off. Okay guys, we now have the front skid plate off. And if we dive under here, one of the first things that you get to just behind the front of the frame right here is the front differential. And this module right here on the front, that is our 4-wheel drive actuator, or ADD actuator. What we'll need to do is we're gonna unplug that plug. Just has a little part right there that you squeeze, and then the plug comes out. A little hard to grab from my angle with one hand, but then we have 4 bolts to undo, 1, 2 right there, and then 2 just on top up here, just out of sight. And once those 4 are undone, this should come off, and you're gonna have to have your catch pan ready to catch the oil, because some oil is gonna spill out of here when you do that. But you can kind of see right here, I have my sealed up breather line, and right here is where that nipple is supposed to go that broke off, where it's supposed to attach. So maybe some debris got up in there and now this thing has gone out, but we're gonna replace this whole unit and hopefully we'll get our 4-wheel drive back. So here we are under the FJ again. You can hear it's running, so it's a little loud, but I figured it would be a good idea to test our new part. So I went ahead and unplugged the one that's currently in there, and I plugged in our new unit. And so right now, you can see it's all the way off to one side, but we'll go ahead and have the 4-wheel drive lever thrown. Go, yep, perfect. Now go back. There you go. So you can see how it moved back and forth, showing that our new unit is working, which is exactly what we want. And just to show you from the cab what it looks like, here's our 4-wheel drive. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it back. And sure enough, our lights come on, the VSC and the 4-wheel drive light. So that shows us that that's working. I'll go ahead and put us in neutral and go into low 4-wheel drive. And there we go. The proper lights came on showing that that's working. We'll press A-track. A-track is working. So I do think that that was our problem, was just that our original unit was not working, our 4-wheel drive actuator. So we'll go ahead and get that replaced. So with us testing that new one and knowing where it goes, we're gonna go ahead and undo the 4 bolts. It looks like it uses a 12mm socket. So I'm gonna go ahead and undo those and just have your oil catch pan ready, because oil will come out of there, gear oil. So in the process of taking off our old 4-wheel drive actuator, I got the 2 bottom bolts easy peasy. I was able to get the 3rd bolt right up here with some challenge and difficulty, but just getting that last bolt is really hard. So to try and make our life easier, I took out our 2 front differential mounting bolts, and that drops our differential down. You can see how normally it'd be up, but we dropped it down. So hopefully that gives us enough wiggle room to get that last bolt out of there. Was able to get that 4th bolt out. The light is shining really well right now. You can see that bolt hole. Yeah, the one up there and the one up there. Having the differential disconnected allows you to move it around a little bit and just get enough room so that way you can move this enough away from the frame and have access to that bolt. It's gonna be not fun putting the new one on there. But now we're ready to pull this off the gasket material should kind of separate as we apply some pressure and work it off, but just have your oil catch pan ready. So here we have our diff oil spilling out. I was able to separate this, so I'll wait to take the part completely off until we get a little more drainage. Actually, I could probably pull it off right now. Oh, there we go. Kind of works its way out a little bit. And just like that, we have our old 4-wheel drive actuator out. And this part, I used a little too much gasket maker. I mean, it worked, but you can see it dangling off there. So we'll just wait for that to drain a little more, and then we'll put our new one on. So as I'm sitting here kind of looking at our old 4-wheel drive actuator, you can see that gasket material actually squished or expressed out into the inside like way too much, because like I said, I think I just went way overboard with our gasket making material. And part of it, you can see the arm, the fork, is kind of hitting our gasket material. So part of me wonders if maybe the motor got burnt out from trying to move back and forth against that material. I don't know. I could plug it in right now and test it without this in the vehicle to see what it does, just to see if it does work or if it truly is dead. So I just turned off the FJ, but we went ahead and tested this, plugged in, put it into 4-wheel drive, and this just did not move at all. So I am pretty confident in saying that just our ADD actuator has gone out, and this part is just bad. So it's a good thing that we're replacing it, and I feel better that we took it off because it just isn't working anymore. Okay, we have our new ADD actuator. Put the gasket material on there much more thinly than last time, and we have that surface all clean and ready to go. So we're going to mate these up. I'm gonna make sure the forks on this go into that sleeve. You can see it's off to the left right now. And once we get that in there, we'll hand tighten our bolts, let it set for an hour, and then tighten it the rest of the way and let it set for 24 hours. All right, we're back. It's day 2. The gasket material has had 24 hours to set. So I'm just gonna go down there, check it, maybe do a little test run in the testing the 4x4, and then we'll go ahead and top off our oil. The oil for FJ Cruiser front differentials is 75W90. So we're gonna be using that, topping it off, and hopefully everything works. All right, I'm by no means an expert mechanic, but there's our gasket material. You can see kind of coming out around the screws and whatnot. Hopefully it makes a good seal and nothing leaks out. Time will tell with that one, but we're gonna go ahead and test the 4-wheel drive. All right, we're here inside the FJ. Gonna go ahead and pull back our 4-wheel drive lever. There we go. You can see the lights came on, which means that that part in the front diff has moved, those forks engaging our 4-wheel drive. So that is a success. We'll go ahead and turn it off. And there it goes, disengaged. Perfect. Let's fill it up. So there's our new component that we installed. You can tell it's not dirty. But over here we have the drain plug for the front diff, and up here is where the fill plug goes. I just undid our fill plug using our large hex wrench. You always want to make sure you can get this off first before you ever drain, because if you get this off but you can't refill it, then you're in trouble. So luckily got that off. We're gonna fill it, and we're just gonna fill it with our oil until it starts coming out. I'm parked relatively level right now, so I'm not too worried, but the more level you are, the more accurate it'll be. But you just fill this until it starts to pour out the top, and then you're all done. You can put the cap back on and you're good to go. Just finished putting in our oil. I used one bag and I wasn't sure if that would take care of it, so I added just a little bit of the second bag, and I think that topped us off. Went ahead and put our cap back on, and no oil is leaking out right here. I tested it again, everything seems to be working. Well everyone, I'm driving around. I've tested the 4-wheel drive, turning it on and off a few times, and everything seems to be working really good. So I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. Check out the rest of my channel for lots of FJ Cruiser content. And until next time, take care.